The trial of Scott Hickman is almost over in the Washington County Common Pleas Court. Today, after 2 weeks of witness and expert testimony, the state and the defense finished presenting evidence to the jury. After the last witness completed their testimony, the jury was dismissed to allow the state and defense to make any final motions and discuss any objections or concerns with the judge. Defense attorney James Owen requested the case be dismissed and Hickman acquitted. Owen argued that the state had presented insufficient evidence for the jury to reasonably convict Hickman, requiring them to make numerous suppositions. The prosecution argued that they had presented sufficient evidence to demonstrate Hickman's culpability for his alleged crimes. Judge Mark Careni rejected the defense's motion. Hickman is on trial for the 1995 murders of Kimberly and her son Daniel Fulton. The state and defense are set to begin closing arguments tomorrow at 9 a.m.